All right, so there was a big meeting regarding so the use of farm property here in Livingston County.
In Conway Township. They tried to have a meeting last month, the Conway Township Planning Commission, about a proposed solar project that was being put forward by Ranger Power. So many people showed up. It was more people than could possibly fit in the township hall.
Sold out crowd, everybody.
It was a sold out crowd. So they had to put off the meeting. So the rescheduled meeting is coming up this Monday at Fowlerville Junior High School. This is the rescheduled meeting of the Conway Township Planning Commission to talk about this project for Ranger Power. Then coming up next Thursday, the 15th.
We're not trying to confuse you at all with
no,
these
not at
dates
all.
and times.
The 15th, there'll be a public event being called Sun 101, and that's being going to be put on by Peter Sinclair. And that's who we're going to talk to right now. And he is obviously advocating for the solar power project. So we want to sort of talk to him, get his point of view on this, and we would open it up to others as well.
That's right.
Good morning.
Good morning, Peter. It's Mike and John from Mike and John Got It Going On podcast. And we're talking Sun 101, which is going to be the little seminar you're going to put together for folks to somewhat educate them at Fowlerville Junior High next week regarding solar power here in Livingston County.
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah, so Peter, I guess explain your relationship to Ranger Power. This is the company that wants to put in this project.
Well, I've been working to kind of promote clean energy for many years. And in the last 5 years, I've realized that there is a highly organized, well-funded national campaign to try to keep clean energy from competing with the fossil fuels that we've had for the last 200 years. And when I saw that campaign come to my county in Midland, I recognized how professional and well organized it was. And because I had some media chops and some video chops, I felt just compelled to kind of just get involved and start pushing back. And in the course of that, I've developed acquaintances with a whole lot of solar and wind developers around the state and around the Midwest.
So I was going to say, I mean, I guess, but again, just to be, I mean, we just want to be clear for our listeners, your connection to Ranger Power.
Yeah, sure. I am a consultant
to
Ranger Power.
Great.
And to a number of other solar and wind developers around the Midwest.
Well, I was going to say, in the state of Michigan alone, there's quite a few areas that have the windmills and solar power, and up near you in Midland, there's some as well, correct?
You bet.
Yeah, lots of them.
And you know, if you're heading west, the west part of the state, there's some there too. So, what's the opposition in this area for Conway Township?
Well, I'm just learning about it. It's pretty typical for what we see. Somebody reads something on Facebook, and we've kind of seen what a rabbit hole social media can be as far as misinformation.
What? Misinformation on social media? Peter, now come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope you guys are sitting down.
Yeah.
There's misinformation on social media, and some people, for a variety of reasons, decide that providing property rights and a diversified income for farmers is maybe not in their best interest. And oftentimes they will promote these Facebook pages, herd a whole bunch of people onto them, forbid any dissenting voices, and then just sort of feed them a whole line of increasingly crazy stuff. And pretty soon you got a whole bunch of angry people.
And we should say there is a Facebook page that has arisen, Conway Township Utility Scale Solar Information Page is something that's come up. And it's a closed group. When I go to look at it, you can't see the information that's there. But obviously, these are residents who are opposed to this project. And I understand what you're saying, that, there's probably some misinformation out there. You'd like to correct it. That's what you're hoping to do on Thursday, December 15th at Fowlerville Junior High School, holding this Sun 101 event.
Have you run into this with the other locations that you've been a part of?
Well,
The opposition.
It's a template. It's not only here in Livingston County. It's what we saw up here in Midland and Isabella. It's what we've seen all over the state of Michigan and all over the Midwest.
And so who's pushing it, do you think?
Well, the fossil fuel industry has very shrewdly identified the township officials and township boards as the choke point where they can slow the energy transition, the critical energy transition that we're in right now. And they kind of know that they can't win, but they can slow it down. And billions of dollars are on the table. So, people have been recruited and taken to Washington, D.C. and trained at think tanks, so-called think tanks there. And they are out in the field organizing. And, of course, on social media, you can do all this in such a way as that...
So you get people riled up.
Well, and obviously the opposition group is going to say, oh, that's what's happening here, that, Ranger Power has hired you as a consultant to come in, and they're going to say what you're saying is misinformation. So in that sense, this is where social media, it's difficult sometimes for folks to kind of get, like, wait, what is actually happening? Yeah.
I totally get that. Yeah. And for that reason, I am a videographer, and I specialize in environment and energy, and I don't call myself an expert, and I don't expect anybody to take anything from me. So what I bring is interviews with people who are experts. And by expert, I typically mean someone with a PhD, 10, 20 years in a field or more. And then I ask them the questions that I want to know the answers to, or other people might not want to know the answers to. And then I just present that.
And I guess that you have a webpage, sun101.org, and
correct.
And when you go there, I mean, I'm looking at it right now, and I see that there are a variety of YouTube videos that are linked here of various individuals, talking about, and like for instance, like Dr. Wolfgang Bauer from Michigan State University, listed here. Mark Dyson from the Rocky Mountain Institute, and others who are talking about the benefits and I guess information behind solar power. I will ask you this, and so Peter, maybe, and for, again, people that would like to know more from this perspective can come out on December 15th, 7 to 9 p.m. at Fowlerville Junior High School, free event, and they can come and learn more. To find out more from this perspective. But one of the key things I've heard from people that are opposed to this, and something I've heard generally speaking about solar panels, is that the panels themselves are not recyclable, and that they contain hazardous materials that could potentially leak into the ground and poison the groundwater. That's a common point that I've heard. Is that something you've also heard?
Well, it's something I set out right away to find out about. And so, following my protocol, I found my way to Dr. Anik Anktil at Michigan State University, Dr. Josh Pierce at Michigan Tech University, Jeff Lake, who's a plant biologist at Adrian College, and a few others. And I just asked them straight up, has there ever been an instance of soil or water being contaminated by a solar farm such as is proposed here? And the answer is just a flat no. In fact, Dr. Pierce called contacts at the Department of Energy to see if anybody had ever heard of such a thing, and it simply never happened. Now, they actually make the silicon, the polycrystalline silicon for solar panels up near me, Saginaw County, and Hemlock Semiconductor, which is a very large operation, employs a lot of people. And so it's basically the raw material is sand, which they apply a whole lot of transformations to and come out with this polycrystalline silicon, which basically you could grind up and put it on your cereal.
Not recommended, but
no, it's kind of hard on your teeth.
Yeah.
Will you be eating a bowl of this at the event on December 15th?
No, silicon is used in medical devices for the very reason that it has no toxicity or interaction with.
I mean, well, that's like they're giving you ammunition when you look at all the things with fossil fuels and what they can do with leakage into our streams and our land, as far as like an old gas station. When you find out how bad that land is, it sounds like they're just giving you ammunition for that, as far as other fueling sources.
Well, the reason that we have to have caution about eating our fish in the Great Lakes is in large part because of burning coal and the mercury that puts into our environment, as well as a whole lot of other stuff. And all over the country, we have literal mountains of coal ash that is leaking into groundwater, surface water, and it contains lead, mercury, cadmium, arsenic, and 100 other really awful things that eventually taxpayers or ratepayers are going to have to pay a whole lot of money to rectify. Either we rectify those leaks or we just live with them forever.
Well, let me change gears a little bit here. Were you surprised that there were so many people at this Conway Township meeting that they had to relocate it regarding this subject?
Yeah, I'm not completely surprised. I mean, it happens from time to time. It happened here in Midland County, the first meeting that I went to in regard to a wind farm. What was interesting is that so many people came from so far away. I mean, people drove literally 2 and 3 hours.
So way outside the affected area itself.
Totally outside the affected area, and to show up at our little township hall and kind of be menacing and nasty to my local officials here.
All right, and we should be clear. That's something that happened up where you live.
Correct.
We don't know that that's what happened or is going to happen in Conway Township. I mean, we know that about 200 people showed up when they originally scheduled the meeting, November 14th. The hall itself could only hold 98. So just by that reason alone, they said, look, we got to reschedule, which they have rescheduled it for this Monday, December 12th at 7 p.m. The rescheduled Conway Township Planning Commission will also be held at Fowlerville Junior High School, right. And that'll be an opportunity for folks to come and speak during call to the public and talk to public officials as well. Your event follows 3 days later.
Correct.
Same location.
Yeah, same location. So do you expect when you hold your event, the Sun 101, on the 15th, on Thursday, and it is an RSVP event, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. You're requesting RSVPs. I mean, are you prepared for a hostile, greeting? How has that happened to you before when you've held these?
Well, a lot of times the anti people just don't show up, and I think it's because they've got their they've got their storyline off of Facebook, and they don't want anybody to muddy it up.
So their mind is made up, and they're not necessarily. I mean, then that's the perspective you're saying. So, well, I guess look, this is an opportunity for folks if they want to learn more. They can come out on the 15th, and again at Fowlerville Junior High School, and then the meeting itself, the rescheduled Planning Commission meeting on the 12th, also at Fowlerville Junior High School.
Are you going to be at that one, Peter, or no?
I'm going to be at both of those events.
Okay.
Obviously, I'll be at the one.
I know you'll be at one on Thursday. Right. I just wondered if you were going to attend the one at Conway Township that they're putting.
I hope to, just if nothing else, just to kind of
soak it in.
Soak it in.
Right. And then, well, obviously be prepared for your meeting on the 15th. To sort of, I guess, talk about some of the things, and particularly, other things you're going to talk about. I mean, there are concern about property values when you have these big solar farms, the use of farmland to host them, the potential impact on wildlife, property rights, things like that. These are issues that you plan to deal with in your event on the 15th. It'll be interesting to see what people say at the Planning Commission meeting on the 12th and how planning commissioners themselves will react. I mean, my understanding of this is that the project that's being proposed by Ranger Power, it's a 1,500-acre solar project. It's essentially within the zoning regulations of the township. They're not proposing anything that's outside the zoning that I'm aware of. And so, as you said, there's this, sometimes there'll be a bottleneck where they can sort of hold projects up at this planning stage before, because it's not as if this project is going to receive approval on Monday or Thursday. This is just the first of many steps that would have to be taken before the project itself would actually, receive final approval and go into construction.
It's a process. Yeah.
Right. So,
how long does something like this have you seen in the past go from the talking stages we're at right here for Conway Township and actually wind farms being put up?
For solar farms.
Well, of course, we're talking about solar farms, but it can vary wildly. If everybody's on board, and you can go through that process in a year or less, I would think, and then. The beauty of clean energy is that once you get that permit, then the construction process is very, very quick. So you can get it up and running, and you don't have ratepayers on the hook for a whole lot of capital while the thing is being built.
Right.
And that's one of the key advantages, and what makes the solar and wind the cheapest new electricity that you can put on the grid.
And what's the advantage for those that own the land, the farm, that you would be using the land?
It's a significant advantage for the farmers, because let's face it, farming is not an easy business.
Right.
And but our farmers are really important, and that's a big reason why I'm involved in this, because farmers are being driven off the land just by the price of their inputs and the difficulty of staying in business and increasing incidence of extreme weather events, which is happening. And
this could be a backup source of income, or the source of income, really, for those.
Totally.
And to that point, there's landowners in Conway Township who have signed up to do this, who want this project on their land. I think that's a significant point to make.
And they are longtime farmers in the area. And I have the radical idea that if we're interested in preserving farmland, maybe we should think about preserving the farmers who are the stewards of that land, and in many cases for more than 100 years. Right. And yet we have, again, I have another radical idea, which is property rights, which used to be.
This is my land. I'll do what I want.
I mean, as long if you're within the zoning regulations and you're following the law, then why shouldn't you be able to do something on your property that is?
I'm told that there used to be people called conservatives who held these values.
I don't think you're making any friends, Peter.
Nope.
But the point is taken. So again, the rescheduled planning commission meeting is Monday the 12th, Fowlerville Junior High School, 7 p.m. And then Sun 101 with consultant Peter Sinclair. That'll be December 15th, also at Fowlerville Junior High. And it's a free event, but they are requesting RSVP. People can go to headlandsolar.com to do that. And again, they can go to your website, sun101.org, and see these interviews, like you said, and get a lot of the information there.
All right, Peter, appreciate you joining us here on the podcast this morning. Thanks for checking in.
Hey, great work, guys. Thanks a whole lot.
Thank you. All right, bye-bye.
And we should say, for folks that are opposed to this, please, we are more than happy to have you on the show as well and express your point of view. Or if one of the landowners that has allowed wants the solar project to come through, we'd like to hear from them as well. So reach out to us. It's Mike and John for the win at gmail.com. Mike and John, the number 4 the win at gmail.com, and we'd love to have you on the show and talk more about this.
Wow, I didn't know.